What is good, guys? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, I'm going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock, what's going on with SPY in the QQQ and Nvda and many tickers out there. I'm going to break down what data is coming out at 10 o'clock a.m. that's going to move the markets, what data is coming out that's very significant, and also what the news is saying about the markets and Tesla. I'm going to talk about the pre-market, what's happening with the technicals for now, and how this may affect us as we open very soon. Before I break anything down about all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things real quick. Firstly, I am not a financial planner. Take none of this as financial advice. And don't forget about the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 10 free stocks, and you can be a free Tesla share. The offer ends very soon. So anyways, let's talk about the markets now. What on earth is going on? Well, on the 30-minute time frame for many of these different tickers, we're about to get these bullish crosses on the PPO, but it's not official yet. And for now, it looks like we're going to see some very sideways price action, maybe a slight pump into like the morning, very small one. And I'm seeing lots of sideways price action that's dictating the momentum for now. But on the 4-hour time frames for many different stocks, they're starting to turn a little bit more bearish. So on the bigger trend, it's starting to favor the bears a bit more. So see how we were getting this cross right here just like a couple of hours ago into the pre-market. Even though the market's holding up, we were seeing some sideways price action with the downtrend to it. But besides that, it's not very strong. So it's still very like 50-50 for now, but favoring the bears a little bit more on like a more medium-term time frame, especially on the QQQ. And the odds do greatly favor more downside for like the medium term as we approach Friday. But for the short term, right, even for like today and beyond, we could see the market just trade very sideways, make it one small attempt to bounce into like the open, very, very sideways, just like yesterday. And not much is going on in the pre-markets. However, I'm anticipating a big reaction to the data at 10 o'clock a.m. And that's going to be because of the economic optimism index report. And this is significant because it's going to give us more insights on the outlook of many economists and investors and consumers. If a lot of people are expecting massive economic contraction, the odds of that happening will go up. If people are not expecting it and they're just like in the middle, it's very close to expectations, the market may not, dislike this too much. It may not cause that big of a reaction. So we're going to be watching this data. We're going to see how the forecast is looking. If it's a lot lower than what the forecast is, we could get a negative reaction from the stock market. But if this is pretty decent, the market could still hold up and not much may happen at the time. I am leaning in the direction of something big happening though, because once again, when these data points come out at around 10 o'clock a.m., we typically see a big reaction. So be ready for that. Now I'm going to break down the levels in just a couple of minutes. For now, the market or the news is saying about the market that the market's very unchanged. Not a whole lot is going on. It's just taking a breather. There was some news about oil. So far, the market is not really pricing in a whole lot about what's happening in Saudi Arabia. That's because the production cuts have not happened yet. So I'd rather be patient on this and see. There's not much going on for now. There was some news about Elon Musk that came out this morning. Tesla's open to licensing the autopilot and more to manufacturers following the Ford deal. So that's very important. Elon Musk is very open-minded and always willing to open up more opportunities to different competitors to help accelerate the development of the EV sector. However, as this news comes out, this is nothing new because Elon Musk did talk about this yesterday. So this is kind of outdated. I know it just came out this morning, but once again, this all came out yesterday, which is great news. Now, what's bigger news is the fact that Panasonic is going to be boosting the battery output at Tesla's Gigafactory in Nevada by 10%. So that's some good news for Tesla. They need more and more of these batteries and more producers to help out with it. And we're seeing some news coming out that they're going to be boosting the output for Tesla. Now, what's so great about this is going to help Tesla going forward. And I think this could be a little bit more positive for them moving forward. But once again, if we do get a positive reaction, we could see Tesla try to pop a little bit at open because of this. But I'm not anticipating way too much volatility. Now let's talk about these levels. So Tesla has, if you look at the 30-minute time frame, there's a lot of chop, lots and lots of chop and sideways price action. This zone right here, basically it's between very close to the 217 area, maybe a little bit lower than that. Very close to like the mid 216s to about 218. And we see Tesla just chopping back and forth and back and forth. If it breaks below it, then we have some support at 216 flat, which is where the 50 EMA is. And if that breaks down, then we have this 214 area followed by the 213s. And then after that, if that fails, then we're likely going to see 209 to 210. So those are like the more bearish levels to be watching for. If Tesla does break to the upside, we have 218. If that breaks, then we have 220, which is going to get very close. I mean, it is seeing lots of shop at this level, lots of resistance. It hasn't gotten a clean break just yet. I'm going to break down how this could move going forward. Now, if Tesla opens, we get a small pop. I'm not expecting it to be too crazy. It's going to likely just continue to trade sideways. And then I think what's going to happen is there's going to be some big reactions to the 10 o'clock data. And even though for now it looks very choppy and very sideways, we're about to get a bullish cross on the 30 minutes, so that could help the bulls a little bit for the short term. But on the 4 hour, like I said before, it's still starting to favor the bears a little bit more as momentum is starting to slow down a bit. Tesla has been downtrending overall. So it's very much in the middle, but I am going to lean very, very sideways for now. A small pop near open and very sideways price action for the time being is what this is looking like in the pre-market. And then big reaction to the data, followed by more downside could come later on though, right? Because of the 4 hour and also because of the QQQ and what I'm seeing for now. Now, on the QQQ, before I talk about SPY, looking very sideways for bullish, it needs to break and hold 355.5. Break that, there's 356, and then it's going to continue to test these highs if it breaks and holds 356. We have 357.5 to 358. Now, I don't see that being very likely because it's still looking weaker, and we do have a possible, head and shoulders developing. If this starts breaking down, that's going to have a negative effect on Tesla. Support's at 354, so watch that carefully on the QQQ. If that breaks, 353.85 to 353.45. We see a lot of chop around these levels, followed by 353. So basically between the 353 to 354 level, there's a lot of chop, lots of sideways price action. So we're going to be watching that very carefully. If 353 breaks, though, if you get a big break below 353, and we get a very strong break to the downside, 350.25 is going to be tested, and we're going to get a bigger drop if that fails on us. So watch that level very carefully. That's where our 200 EMA happens to be, 350.25. Now, what do I think is going to happen? I'm leaning in the direction of an attempt to balance. Basically, we're about to get a bullish cross on the PPO, but I don't think it's going to be that strong on the QQQ because it's once again looking very choppy and sideways, and it's not looking as strong as Tesla. Now, because of that, and as momentum is continuing to favor the bears in the 4 hour, I'm going to be anticipating lots of sideways price action, followed by some downside later on the QQQ, and I think this could slow Tesla down. I don't know when the downside is going to come yet. It could happen as soon as today, maybe in a couple of days. And I think there's going to be an attempt to come all the way back down to this 350 level by Friday. But we have to watch 353 first. If it breaks down like that, it's going to slow Tesla down. So I want to warn you guys in advance. Now, as for Tesla, it's once again trading very sideways in the pre-market. Not a whole lot is going on. Might be an attempt for it to like pop in the morning, but later on, because of the QQQ, it could see some downside. Either like maybe today, maybe more like later on in the next couple of days. But before that happens, I'm just seeing lots of sideways action first. And you're going to be watching the 50 EMA on Tesla. So watch and see if that holds. If that breaks and it cannot hold this, then that's going to be a more bearish signal. I just wanted to note that on SPY, if we're bullish on SPY, I mean, like I said before, it's very, very sideways. It's about to get a bullish cross here, so it has more strength than the QQQ. If we're bullish, we're going to be watching 427.5. That's going to be major resistance. If it manages to break that, there's going to be a good attempt for it to try to make its way up to about the 428.5. It's about 430 area. Now, if we end up seeing this thing break to the downside, you're going to be watching 426. That's going to be a very important level. If 426 fails, then we're going to see 425. There's a lot of chop between 426 and 425. If that fails on us, then it's going to make a bigger move all the way down to where this gap is and likely come down to like the very low 420s if 425 ends up failing on us. So make sure you watch support and resistance very carefully. What I think is going to happen is there's going to be an attempt to retest 427.5 in the morning, and then we're just going to continue to see sideways price action. It could even break this temporarily, but be very careful at 10 o'clock a.m. Depending on the data. And because of the QQQ showing some signs of weakness and because of the fact that the 4 hour is still not looking that strong, there's an increased probability that later on in the future, SPY will make its way down to these lower levels. I just don't know the exact timing. I'm going to be watching when it breaks, but the odds do greatly favor that looking at the 4 hour time frame, that eventually it's going to see some downside later on. But for now, it's looking kind of like choppy to start us off. Could make one attempt to like pop in the morning, and then there's going to be a big reaction at 10, and then more sideways price action. NEO is starting to pop off a bit. It's currently at 7.71, very close to my target, which was around 7.76. it's going to likely make its way up or an attempt for $8 soon over the next couple of trading days as it approaches earnings, and it's going to likely break above that and try pushing higher. There's a good chance that's going to happen, so please watch that carefully. For the dollar, it's continuing to pop. If the dollar keeps popping, that could become bearish for the markets. For Nvda, it's very sideways. It's basically just stuck in a wedge, going back and forth, continuing to get tighter and tighter. It's going to make a big move very soon in one of these directions, so we'll have to wait and see what that does. It could go either way. It's going to depend on some kind of news catalyst or something like that. Once again, it's very, very choppy and sideways. We'll see what happens from there. Aapl is trying to bounce a little bit. It's going to be testing the 50 EMA. If it manages to break this and pushes higher, we're going to be watching the 182 zone. If that happens, it's going to help the market pump just a tiny bit into open. If Aapl rejects off 180 in the open, watch support at 178. If that breaks and it starts breaking down, it's going to get closer to 175. If that happens, that's going to be bearish for SPY in the QQQ and also for Tesla. So you got to watch Aapl carefully. It's very impactful for the markets. It had a big effect on the markets yesterday. And last but not least, what else did I forget? That's basically everything for now. I talked about Nvda, Tesla, and all of the big ones. So basically, we're expecting lots of sideways chop. For now, that's what the pre-market is telling us, sideways price action. There might be an attempt to pop near the very open, then a big reaction at 10 o'clock. And once again, we're looking very sideways, so watch these levels. It could break in either direction. But for like the more medium term, over the next couple of trading days, I'm anticipating that the QQQ might see some downside, and that could drag Tesla down as we approach Friday. All right, so that's what I'm seeing. That's what the charts are telling us for now. Make sure you watch all the levels and do what you can to be as calm as possible at any given moment. Thank you for listening, guys. Have a good one. Get ready for the market open, and peace out.